Your brain blocks wealth without permission. Most people never see the invisible map. What if scarcity was just bad wiring? One shift rewrites your entire financial reality. The wealthy don't think differently. They map differently. Here's what nobody tells you. Lottery winners go broke in 3 years. Why? Their mental map stayed poor. Your brain has patterns costing you $10,000 annually. You can't see them. They run in the background like programs. And here's the truth that changes everything. One single belief creates millionaires from minimum wage. Not talent, not luck. Just one rewired thought. Your current mental map is costing you everything. Every opportunity you miss. Every decision you regret. Every dollar that slips away. It all traces back to how your mind is mapped. And that map was drawn without your consent. You inherited a scarcity operating system. It came from your parents, your teachers, your culture, your earliest memories of money. Before you could choose, your brain was programmed. Scarcity became your default, and defaults run everything. They determine what you see, what you believe possible, what actions you take, and what results you get. The system is invisible until you learn to look for it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you can change it. This audiobook is about mapping your mind for abundance, not positive thinking, not wishful manifestation. We're talking about actual neural rewiring, brain architecture, the physical pathways that determine whether you build wealth or stay broke. You're going to learn how the mind creates poverty loops and how to break them. You'll discover how to install new operating systems that default to abundance. And you'll walk away with a blueprint that changes your financial reality from the inside out. The scarcity operating system runs on 3 core programs. First, there's the survival program. Your brain evolved to avoid danger and conserve resources. 10,000 years ago, that kept you alive. Today, it keeps you broke. The survival program tells you to hoard, to fear loss, to play it safe. It sees every financial risk as a threat to your existence. So you stay small. You save pennies while missing fortunes. You protect what little you have instead of expanding into more. Second, there's the comparison program. Your brain constantly scans your environment to determine your status. It looks at who has more and who has less. When you see someone with more, the program triggers inadequacy. You feel behind. You feel like you're losing a race you didn't know you entered. This creates desperate energy. You make decisions from lack. You chase money instead of attracting it. You operate from a mindset of not enough, which creates more not enough. Third, there's the unworthiness program. This is the deepest one. It's the program that whispers you don't deserve abundance. It points to your past mistakes as evidence. It highlights your current circumstances as proof. It tells you that wealth is for other people. People smarter than you, more talented, more connected, luckier. The unworthiness program runs silently beneath every financial decision you make. It sabotages opportunities before you even see them. It makes you shrink when you should expand. It keeps you in your comfort zone, which is really just your familiar zone, which is really just your poverty zone. These 3 programs create a feedback loop. Survival program makes you fearful. Comparison program makes you desperate. Unworthiness program makes you small. Fear plus desperation plus smallness equals scarcity. And scarcity attracts more scarcity. Not because the universe is punishing you, because your brain is designed to find evidence for what it already believes. If you believe scarcity, you'll spot scarcity everywhere. If you believe abundance, you'll spot abundance everywhere. The evidence is neutral. Your mental map determines what you see. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. Picture a woman named Sarah. She's 37, works in marketing, makes $60,000 a year. She's been at the same salary for 4 years. Every year, she thinks about asking for a raise. Every year, she talks herself out of it. The conversation in her head goes like this: I should ask for more money. But what if they say no? What if they think I'm greedy? What if they start looking at my performance more critically? What if this makes them realize they could hire someone cheaper? I should just be grateful I have a job. The economy is tough. Other people have it worse. Maybe next year. That internal dialogue is the scarcity operating system running. Survival program says asking is dangerous. Comparison program says other people have it worse, so you should settle. Unworthiness program says you should be grateful for scraps. Sarah stays at 60,000. Meanwhile, her colleague James asked for a raise last month. He makes 75,000 now. Same job, same company, different mental map. Sarah's brain has been mapped for scarcity. She doesn't see opportunities. She sees threats. When her boss mentions a new project, Sarah's first thought is more work, same pay. When James hears about the same project, his first thought is visibility and leverage. Same information, different operating systems, different results. Sarah goes home exhausted, feeling undervalued. James goes home energized, planning his next move. This pattern repeats daily. Small decisions, tiny thought patterns. Over time, they compound into completely different financial realities. Now think about your own mental map. What programs are running? When you think about money, what's your first feeling? Anxiety, excitement, neutrality, dread? Your immediate emotional response reveals your operating system. If money thoughts trigger stress, your survival program is dominant. If they trigger envy, your comparison program is active. If they trigger shame, your unworthiness program is in control. None of this is your fault, but all of it is your responsibility. You didn't install these programs, but you're the only one who can uninstall them. The abundance architecture works differently. It's built on 3 foundational structures. First, there's expansion thinking. Instead of asking, how do I protect what I have? You ask, how do I create more? Instead of seeing finite resources, you see infinite possibilities. Expansion thinking recognizes that wealth isn't a pie where someone else's slice reduces yours. Wealth is a garden. The more you cultivate, the more grows. When you operate from expansion, you celebrate other people's success because it proves abundance is possible. You collaborate instead of compete. You invest instead of hoard. You take calculated risks instead of hiding in safety. Second, there's present moment wealth. This means recognizing the abundance you already have, not in a toxic positivity way, in a neurological rewiring way. Your brain has a reticular activating system. It's a filter that determines what information gets through to your conscious awareness. If you program your RAS to spot scarcity, you'll see bills, problems, and lack everywhere. If you program it to spot abundance, you'll see opportunities, resources, and possibilities everywhere. Present moment wealth training teaches your brain to notice what's working, what you already have, what's available right now. This isn't about ignoring real problems. It's about balancing your perception so you can see solutions. Third, there's worthiness as default. This is the game changer. Instead of trying to earn your worth, you start from worth. You recognize that your value isn't determined by your bank account, your achievements, or other people's opinions. You're inherently worthy of abundance because you exist. This isn't spiritual bypassing. It's practical neuroscience. When you operate from worthiness, you make different choices. You don't accept less than you deserve. You don't tolerate disrespect. You don't sabotage your own success. You show up as someone who expects abundance because you know you're worthy of it. And when you expect it, you spot it. And when you spot it, you claim it. These 3 structures create a different feedback loop. Expansion thinking makes you opportunistic. Present moment wealth makes you grateful. Worthiness makes you confident. Opportunity plus gratitude plus confidence equals abundance. And abundance attracts more abundance. Again, not because of magic, because your brain finds what it's looking for. When your mental map is drawn for abundance, you navigate toward wealth automatically. You don't have to force it. You don't have to hustle yourself into exhaustion. You just follow the map. Here's where most people get stuck. They try to think positive thoughts while their brain architecture stays wired for scarcity. It's like trying to run new software on old hardware. The system crashes. You affirm abundance while your survival program screams danger. You visualize wealth while your comparison program highlights everyone doing better. You declare worthiness while your unworthiness program replays every failure. The conflicting signals create cognitive dissonance, so you give up. You decide manifestation doesn't work, but manifestation isn't the problem. Your operating system is. You need to rebuild the architecture first. That starts with your reticular activating system. Right now, your RAS is calibrated for scarcity. It filters reality to match your existing beliefs. If you believe money is hard to make, your RAS will show you evidence of that. People struggling, jobs scarce, opportunities limited. If you believe money flows easily, your RAS will show you evidence of that. People succeeding, jobs abundant, opportunities everywhere. The evidence exists for both. Your RAS decides what you see, and what you see determines what you believe, and what you believe determines what you experience. Recalibrating your RAS requires intentional input. For the next 7 days, you're going to do a simple practice. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you start your day, you're going to ask yourself one question. What opportunities are available to me right now? Then you're going to sit quietly and let your mind answer. Don't force it. Don't judge what comes up. Just notice. Your brain will start scanning for opportunities instead of obstacles. It might show you a skill you could monetize, a person you could reach out to, an idea you've been ignoring, a pattern you could change. Whatever comes up, write it down. Do this for 7 days straight. By day 3, you'll start noticing opportunities throughout your day that you would have missed before. By day 7, your RAS will be actively hunting for abundant signals. At night, before sleep, you're going to do the second part. You will review your day and identify 3 moments of abundance. Maybe someone bought you coffee. Maybe you found a parking spot immediately. Maybe a stranger smiled at you. Maybe your body worked without pain. These seem small. That's the point. You're training your brain to spot abundance at every level. When you can see micro-abundance, macro-abundance becomes visible too. Write down your 3 moments. Feel gratitude for them. Let that feeling saturate your nervous system as you fall asleep. Your subconscious processes information during sleep. You're programming it with abundance data instead of scarcity data. After 7 days of this practice, your RAS will be recalibrated. You'll walk through the same world you always have, but you'll see it differently. Opportunities will jump out at you. Resources will appear. Connections will form. This isn't magic. It's neurology. Your brain is now filtered for abundance. What was always there becomes visible, and what becomes visible becomes actionable. Now we need to address the stories you tell yourself about money. Every person has a money story. It's the narrative you've constructed about what money means, how it works, and what it says about you. Most money stories are inherited. Your parents had a money story. You absorbed it before you had language. If your parents fought about money, your story might be money causes conflict. If your parents hoarded money, your story might be money must be protected. If your parents spent freely, your story might be money is meant to be enjoyed. If your parents struggled, your story might be money is hard to get. None of these stories are true. They're just stories, but they function as truth in your brain because they're unexamined. Your money story runs like a script in the background. It determines your financial ceiling. If your story says you're not good with money, you'll sabotage every attempt to manage it well. If your story says rich people are greedy, you'll unconsciously avoid wealth to maintain your identity as a good person. If your story says you have to work hard for every dollar, you'll reject opportunities that feel too easy. Your story creates your reality, not because it's true, but because you keep proving it true through your actions. Let me give you an example. There's a man named David. He grew up watching his father work 70-hour weeks to provide for the family. His father was proud of his work ethic. He believed that struggle equaled virtue. David absorbed this. His money story became wealth requires suffering. When David started his own business, he worked 80-hour weeks. He burned out twice. He made money, but he destroyed his health and his marriage. His therapist asked him why he couldn't hire help. David said it felt like cheating. He believed that if wealth came easily, it wasn't earned. That was his story running. Wealth requires suffering. So he created suffering to justify his wealth. One day, David's business partner told him something that changed everything. You know the business makes the same money whether you're miserable or happy, right? The profit doesn't care about your pain. David realized his suffering wasn't creating wealth. His systems were. His team was. His strategy was. The suffering was just his story demanding proof. He started delegating. He hired support. He worked 40 hours instead of 80. Revenue increased because he had energy to think strategically instead of just grinding. His money story had been costing him income and joy. Once he saw it as a story instead of truth, he could write a new one. What's your money story? Take a moment and complete these sentences in your mind. Money is. Rich people are. I can't have money because money makes me feel. If I had wealth, I would. Your immediate responses reveal your story. Now ask yourself, where did this story come from? Was it your parents, your culture, your religion, a traumatic experience? An offhand comment someone made when you were young? Most money stories trace back to a moment when you decided what money meant. That decision became your reality. But decisions can be unmade. Here's your new money story. Money is energy. It's neutral. It flows where attention goes. Money amplifies who you already are. If you're generous without money, you'll be generous with money. If you're greedy without money, you'll be greedy with money. Money doesn't corrupt. It reveals. Rich people are just people who learn to manage money. Some are kind, some are cruel. Just like poor people, wealth is available to anyone willing to align their mental map with abundance. You can have money because you're worthy of resources. Money makes you feel however you decide to feel about it. If you had wealth, you would have more options, not a different character. Read that paragraph again. Let it sink in. Notice the resistance that comes up. That resistance is your old story defending itself. Stories don't die quietly. They fight for survival. Your scarcity story will give you 100 reasons why this new story is naive or dangerous or unrealistic. Don't argue with it. Just notice it. Thank it for trying to protect you. Then choose the new story anyway. Repeat the new story every morning for 30 days. Write it out. Say it out loud. Let it become familiar. Your brain will resist at first. Then it will tolerate. Then it will accept. Then it will believe. Belief changes behavior. Behavior changes results. Now let's talk about visualization. Most people visualize wrong. They picture a mansion or a car or a number in their bank account. They try to feel excited about it. It feels fake because it is fake. Your brain knows you don't have those things. The gap between your visualization and your reality creates cognitive dissonance. So your brain rejects the visualization. You end up feeling worse than before. The trick isn't to visualize things you don't have. It's to visualize the identity of someone who has abundance. Close your eyes for a moment. Take 3 deep breaths. Now I want you to imagine waking up tomorrow as someone whose mental map is completely wired for abundance. You don't necessarily have $1 million in the bank yet, but your mind operates from overflow. Notice how this version of you feels in the morning. There's no anxiety about money. There's quiet confidence. You trust that resources flow to you because they always have. You get ready for your day with calm energy. You're not rushing. You're not stressed. You're present. As you move through your morning, notice how abundance-minded you makes decisions. Someone offers you an opportunity. Instead of immediately thinking what could go wrong, you think what could go right. You evaluate from possibility, not fear. Someone asks you to invest in something. Instead of gripping your money tight, you assess whether it aligns with your growth. You're not reckless, but you're not paralyzed either. You move through the world like someone who knows there's more. Where that came from. Notice how you interact with others. You're generous. Not because you're trying to prove anything, because generosity feels natural when you're not operating from lack. You tip well. You share resources. You celebrate other people's wins. There's no envy because their abundance doesn't threaten yours. You collaborate easily because you're not protecting territory. You're expanding it. Feel the lightness of this way of being. Feel the openness. Feel the ease. Now notice how you talk to yourself. When you look in the mirror, you see someone worthy of abundance, not because of what you've achieved, just because you exist. You speak kindly to yourself. You acknowledge your worth. You expect good things because you know you're aligned with them. This isn't arrogance. It's clarity. You know who you are, and who you are is someone designed for abundance. Spend a few more moments in this visualization. Let yourself feel what it's like to operate from this identity. Let your nervous system experience the calm, the confidence, the clarity. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a vivid visualization and a real experience. When you visualize from this identity-level place, you're creating neural pathways. You're wiring your brain to operate this way in reality. The more you practice this, the more automatic it becomes. Open your eyes. That version of you isn't fiction. It's who you become when your mental map is redrawn for abundance. Every time you visualize from this identity, you strengthen the pathways. You make it more likely that you'll show up this way in real moments. You're not pretending to have what you don't have. You're becoming who you need to be to have it. That's the difference. And that's what works. This is neuroplasticity in action. Your brain is not fixed. It's constantly rewiring based on what you focus on, what you practice, what you repeat. Every thought creates a neural pathway. Every repeated thought strengthens that pathway. Eventually, the pathway becomes a highway. It becomes your default. Right now, your default pathways run towards scarcity. You've been practicing scarcity thinking for years, maybe decades. Those pathways are deep and wide, but they're not permanent. You can create new pathways, and with enough repetition, those new pathways become stronger than the old ones. Here's how it works. Every time you catch a scarcity thought and replace it with an abundance thought, you weaken the scarcity pathway and strengthen the abundance pathway. At first, it feels forced. The scarcity pathway is your brain's habit. It takes effort to redirect, but after 21 days of consistent practice, the new pathway starts to feel familiar. After 60 days, it starts to feel natural. After 90 days, it becomes your new default. Your brain literally restructures itself. This isn't metaphor. It's measurable. Brain scans show physical changes in neural density based on repeated thoughts and behaviors. So for the next 90 days, you're going to do pattern interrupts. Every time you notice a scarcity thought, you're going to pause. Take a breath. Say to yourself, that's the old map. Then you're going to consciously choose an abundance thought. If you think I can't afford this, you replace it with what would make this possible. If you think they're so lucky, you replace it with what can I learn from their success. If you think I always struggle with money, you replace it with I'm learning to manage money differently. These aren't lies. They're redirects. You're not denying reality. You're expanding your perception of what's possible. Track this practice. Keep a small notebook or use your phone. Every time you catch and replace a scarcity thought, make a mark. Watch the marks accumulate. In the first week, you might catch 5 or 10 scarcity thoughts. That's good. It means you're becoming aware. In the second week, you might catch 20. Even better, your awareness is sharpening. By week 3, the number might drop, not because you are having fewer scarcity thoughts, but because you're automatically replacing them before they fully form. By week 12, abundance thinking becomes reflexive. You won't have to try anymore. It will be how you think. Now we need to talk about gratitude, because most people misunderstand it. Gratitude isn't about forcing yourself to feel thankful for things you resent. It's not toxic positivity. It's a strategic abundance multiplier. When you practice genuine gratitude, you activate specific neural networks associated with reward and pleasure. Your brain releases dopamine and serotonin. These neurochemicals create a state of well-being. When you feel good, you think clearly. When you think clearly, you make better decisions. When you make better decisions, you get better results. Gratitude literally changes your brain chemistry in ways that support wealth building. But here's the key. Gratitude has to be specific and felt, not generic and performative. Saying I'm grateful for my health while you're resenting your body does nothing. Your brain knows you don't mean it. Instead, you find one specific thing your body did today and feel genuine appreciation for it. Maybe your legs carried you upstairs. Maybe your eyes let you see a sunset. Maybe your hands let you hug someone you love. Get granular. Get real. Feel the appreciation in your chest, not just in your head. The same applies to money gratitude. Don't say I'm grateful for abundance while you're staring at an overdrawn account. Your brain will reject it. Instead, find one specific financial resource you have right now and feel real appreciation for it. Maybe you have a roof over your head tonight. Maybe you have clean water. Maybe you have a skill that could earn money. Maybe you have a friend who would help you in emergency. These are real resources. When you acknowledge them with genuine gratitude, your brain registers abundance. And what your brain registers, it seeks to increase. Here's your gratitude practice. Every morning, write down 3 specific things you're grateful for. They must be specific. They must be real. They must evoke actual feeling. Not I'm grateful for money. Instead, I'm grateful my client paid me on time so I could buy my daughter the book she wanted. Feel the appreciation for the client, the payment, the ability to provide, the joy on your daughter's face. Let that feeling expand in your body. Do this every single morning for 90 days. Your brain will start scanning for things to appreciate. It will shift from problem-focused to gratitude-focused. This changes everything. Every evening, write down 3 moments from your day when you felt abundant. Not when you had a lot of money. When you felt abundant. Maybe you laughed with a friend. Maybe you solved a problem creatively. Maybe you helped someone. Maybe you enjoyed a meal. Abundance is a feeling state, not a dollar amount. When you train your brain to recognize the feeling of abundance in small moments, it learns to create more moments that generate that feeling. You become a match for abundance at the identity level, and identity always determines destiny. Now let's talk about decision-making, because this is where the mental map shows itself most clearly. Every decision you make comes from either scarcity or abundance. Scarcity-based decisions ask, what will I lose? Abundance-based decisions ask, what will I gain? Scarcity-based decisions protect. Abundance-based decisions expand. Scarcity-based decisions avoid risk. Abundance-based decisions take calculated risk. Same decision point, completely different outcomes based on which operating system is running. Think about a recent financial decision you made. Maybe you decided not to invest in a course. Maybe you decided not to ask for a raise. Maybe you decided not to start that business. Maybe you decided to stay in a job you hate. What was the core question you asked yourself when making that decision? If your question was, what if this doesn't work? You decided from scarcity. If your question was, what becomes possible if this does work? You decided from abundance. The question you ask determines the answer you get, and the answer determines your action, and your action determines your result. Here's a framework for abundance-based decision-making. When you face a financial choice, run it through these 4 questions. First, does this align with who I'm becoming? Not who I am now, who I'm becoming. If you're becoming someone who builds wealth, investing in education aligns. If you're becoming someone who expands, staying small doesn't align. Second, what's the worst realistic outcome? Not the catastrophic fantasy, the actual likely worst case. Usually it's not that bad. You lose some money. You feel embarrassed. You have to try again. All survivable. Third, what's the best realistic outcome? Not the fantasy, the actual possible upside. Usually, it's significant. You gain skills. You increase income. You expand your network. You grow confidence. Fourth, can I handle the worst case to potentially gain the best case? If yes, the decision is easy. Do it. If no, either the opportunity isn't right or your risk tolerance needs calibration. Let me show you this framework in action. Picture a woman named Jennifer. She's been working corporate jobs for 15 years. She has an idea for a business. She's been thinking about it for 3 years. She keeps deciding not to start because of scarcity thinking. What if I fail? What if I lose money? What if people judge me? What if I'm not good enough? These questions guarantee a no. They're designed to protect, not to expand. So Jennifer stays stuck. Safe, but stuck. One day, Jennifer's friend asks her to run through the 4 questions. Does starting this business align with who you're becoming? Jennifer realizes she's becoming someone brave enough to bet on herself. Yes, it aligns. What's the worst realistic outcome? Jennifer thinks about it honestly. She might invest $10,000, and the business might not work. She'd be out the money in some time. That would hurt, but it wouldn't destroy her life. She'd still have her job. She'd still have her skills. She'd have learned something. What's the best realistic outcome? The business could replace her corporate income within 2 years. She could have freedom, autonomy, and work she loves. She could build something meaningful. Can she handle losing $10,000 to potentially gain financial freedom? Jennifer realizes she absolutely can. She's spent $10,000 on things that gave her nothing. At least this gives her a shot at everything. Jennifer starts the business. It's hard. She makes mistakes, but she's operating from abundance now. Each mistake is data, not proof of unworthiness. Each setback is a redirect, not a dead end. 2 years later, her business makes twice what her corporate job paid. But more importantly, her mental map is completely redrawn. She makes decisions from possibility now. She looks for opportunity. She expects abundance. And abundance shows up because she's become someone who recognizes it and claims it. What decision are you avoiding right now because of scarcity thinking? What would you do if you knew abundance was your operating system? Sit with that question. Feel the resistance. Notice the fear. Then ask yourself the 4 framework questions. Let the answers guide you toward expansion instead of protection. One abundance-based decision creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates more abundance-based decisions. The cycle feeds itself. Here's something nobody tells you about abundance. You have to build your capacity to receive it. Most people say they want wealth, but their nervous system can't handle it. They've spent their whole lives adapted to scarcity. Their identity is built around struggle. Their relationships are bonded through shared lack. Their self-worth is tied to overcoming hardship. When abundance shows up, it threatens their entire identity structure. So they unconsciously reject it. They sabotage the opportunity. They give the money away. They create a crisis that drains resources. They return to the familiar discomfort of scarcity because at least it's known. This is why lottery winners go broke. It's not that they're stupid or reckless. It's that their receiving capacity hasn't expanded to match the money. Their mental map is still drawn for poverty, so the wealth feels foreign. It feels wrong. Their nervous system goes into overdrive, trying to return to homeostasis, which for them means broke. They spend unconsciously. They trust the wrong people. They make terrible investments. Not because they want to lose the money, but because their system is designed to reject what it can't integrate. The money leaves. They feel relieved. They're back in familiar territory, broke but known. You need to expand your receiving capacity before abundance shows up, or you'll do the same thing on a smaller scale. Every time you get a little extra money, you'll find a way to spend it. Every time an opportunity appears, you'll find a reason to say no. Every time someone tries to help you, you'll deflect or minimize or reject. Not because you're self-destructive, but because your system isn't calibrated for receiving. So we're going to calibrate it. Start small. For the next 30 days, practice receiving without deflecting. When someone compliments you, say thank you. Don't minimize. Don't deflect. Don't return a compliment immediately. Just receive it. Let it land. Feel it in your body. This is harder than it sounds. Your unworthiness program will scream. It will tell you to diminish yourself. It will tell you the compliment isn't true. Don't argue with it. Just say thank you anyway. You're training your nervous system to accept positive input without rejection. When someone offers to help you, say yes. Don't immediately reciprocate. Don't over-explain why you need help. Don't apologize for needing support. Just accept it. Thank them. Let yourself be supported. Again, this will feel uncomfortable. Your independence program will rebel. It will tell you that needing help makes you weak. It doesn't. It makes you human. And more importantly, it expands your capacity to receive. Every time you accept support, you tell your nervous system that receiving is safe, that you're worthy of resources flowing to you, that you don't have to do everything alone. When money shows up unexpectedly, receive it without immediately spending it. Found $20? Don't instantly think of what to buy. Just appreciate it. A client pays early? Don't immediately allocate it to bills. Sit with the feeling of having it. Let your nervous system experience surplus. Even if just for an hour, you're building the neural pathways for wealth. You're teaching your brain that money can stay, that it's safe to have more than you need right now, that overflow is available. Do these 3 practices daily. Receive compliments, receive help, receive money. Track how it feels. Notice the resistance. Notice when it starts to soften. By day 30, receiving will feel more natural. By day 60, you'll notice you are attracting more things to receive. By day 90, your capacity will have expanded significantly. You'll be ready for larger abundances because your system can integrate them. The people you surround yourself with matter more than you think. Your brain has mirror neurons. They fire when you observe someone else's behavior, creating the same neural pattern in your brain as if you were doing the behavior yourself. When you're around people who think scarcity, your mirror neurons fire scarcity patterns. When you're around people who think abundance, your mirror neurons fire abundance patterns. You literally become like the people you spend time with at a neurological level. Look at your closest 5 relationships. How do those people think about money? Do they complain about lack? Do they celebrate abundance? Do they take risks? Do they play it safe? Do they invest in growth? Do they hoard resources? Their patterns are influencing your patterns whether you realize it or not. If everyone around you is broke and bitter, your brain is practicing broke and bitter. If everyone around you is abundant and generous, your brain is practicing abundant and generous. You're not betraying anyone by wanting to upgrade your circle. You're taking responsibility for your mental environment. This doesn't mean abandoning people you love. It means intentionally adding abundance-minded people to your life. Join communities where wealth building is normalized. Find mentors who have what you want. Connect with people who are growth-oriented. Follow people online who share abundance perspectives. Read books by people who think expansively. Listen to podcasts that challenge scarcity thinking. Consume content that reinforces your new mental map. Your brain is always learning from your environment. Make sure your environment is teaching abundance. At the same time, start being the abundance-minded person in your current circles. When your friends complain about money, don't join in. Share what's working for you instead. When your family speaks scarcity, gently offer abundance perspectives. When your colleagues gossip about lack, redirect to possibility. You don't have to preach, just model. Your energy will shift. Some people will be drawn to it. Some will resist it. Let them. You're not responsible for changing anyone. You're responsible for maintaining your own mental map. The right people will find you when you're vibrating at abundance frequency. Now we're going to build your 90-day mental map rewrite plan. This isn't theory anymore. This is implementation. You're going to take everything you've learned and turn it into a daily practice that rewires your brain systematically. 90 days is the minimum time needed to create lasting neural change. Less than that, and the new pathways haven't solidified. More than that, and you're likely to already see significant results. So we're using 90 days as our transformation container. Week 1 is awareness. Your only job is to notice your current mental map without judgment. Track every scarcity thought. Track every abundance thought. Track how you feel about money throughout the day. Track what triggers financial anxiety. Track what creates financial ease. Don't try to change anything yet. Just observe. You're gathering data. By the end of week 1, you'll have a clear picture of your current operating system. You'll see patterns you didn't know existed. You'll recognize programs running in the background. This awareness is the foundation of everything else. Week 2 is interruption. Now you start the pattern interrupt practice. Every time you catch a scarcity thought, you pause and replace it with an abundance thought. You'll do this dozens of times per day at first. It will feel mechanical. That's okay. You're building new pathways. Keep tracking. Notice if the scarcity thoughts decrease, or if you're just getting better at catching them. Both are progress. By the end of week 2, the replacement process will start to feel more natural. Week 3 is installation. Add the morning and evening practices. Morning RAS recalibration. Ask what opportunities are available. Write them down. Evening abundance audit. Identify 3 moments of abundance. Write them down. Feel gratitude. You're now doing pattern interrupts all day, plus structured practices, morning and night. Your brain is getting abundance input from multiple angles. By the end of week 3, you'll start noticing opportunities you would have missed before. Week 4 is integration. Add the visualization practice. 5 minutes every morning. Visualize yourself as someone whose mental map is wired for abundance. Feel the identity. Let your nervous system experience it. Don't skip this. Visualization creates neural pathways faster than almost any other practice. By the end of week 4, you'll notice yourself making different choices. Small things. You'll speak up in a meeting. You'll try something new. You'll say yes to an opportunity. These are signs your brain is rewiring. Weeks 5 through 8 are expansion. Everything continues. Pattern interrupts. Morning questions. Evening gratitude. Daily visualization. Now you add receiving practice. Accept compliments, accept help, accept money. Let it land without deflecting. Your capacity is expanding. You'll also start applying the abundance decision-making framework to every choice. Run the 4 questions. Make decisions from possibility. Track the outcomes. By the end of the week 8, your default thinking will be noticeably different. You'll catch yourself thinking abundantly without trying. Weeks 9 through 12 are solidification. All practices continue. Now you're living from the new map. It's not effort anymore. It's identity. You think like someone who expects abundance because you are someone who expects abundance. Your actions reflect it. Your results confirm it. The external world is starting to match your internal shift. Money shows up differently. Opportunities appear. Connections form. You're not hustling for it. It's flowing because you're finally aligned to receive it. By day 90, your mental map is redrawn. The scarcity operating system is still there in the background. It might activate under extreme stress, but it's no longer your default. Abundance architecture is your new foundation. You think differently. You decide differently. You show up differently. And because you show up differently, your results are different. This isn't magic. This is systematic neural rewiring. You put in 90 days of consistent practice, and your brain physically changed. The pathways are built. Now you just maintain them. But here's what you need to know about maintenance. Your brain will try to return to old patterns under stress. When you're triggered, when you're afraid, when you're overwhelmed, the scarcity programs will attempt to take over. They're older, they're deeper, they're wired for survival. This doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. The key is catching it quickly and redirecting. Don't shame yourself for old patterns showing up. Just notice them. Thank them for trying to protect you. Then consciously choose the new pattern. Over time, even under stress, the abundance pathways will activate faster. But you have to be vigilant, especially in the first year. Create what I call abundance anchors. These are environmental reminders of your new mental map. Maybe it's a phrase on your mirror. Maybe it's a photo that represents expansion. Maybe it's a song that puts you in abundance state. Maybe it's a person you can call who thinks abundantly. When you notice yourself slipping into scarcity thinking, use your anchors. They'll help you shift back quickly. The faster you catch and redirect, the less time you spend in scarcity state. And the less time you spend there, the weaker those pathways become. Also build in regular recalibration practices. Once a week, do a deep mental map audit. Sit down with your journal. Review your thoughts from the week. Notice patterns. Celebrate wins. Identify where scarcity crept back in. Recommit to abundance thinking. This weekly practice keeps you accountable. It prevents drift. It's like taking your car in for alignment. You're making sure your mental map stays calibrated for abundance instead of slowly veering back toward scarcity. Finally, find an accountability partner or community. Someone who's also committed to abundance thinking. Someone you can check in with regularly. Share your wins. Share your struggles. Celebrate each other's growth. Challenge each other's scarcity thinking. This external support makes the internal work easier. You're not alone in rewiring your brain. You're part of a community doing the same thing. The collective energy amplifies individual effort. Living from your new blueprint means making abundance your identity, not your goal. Goals are external. Identity is internal. When wealth is a goal, you're always chasing it. When abundance is your identity, you're always living from it. The shift is subtle but powerful. Someone with a wealth goal says, I want to be rich. Someone with an abundance identity says, I am abundant. Present tense, not future. Not conditional. Now, this identity shows up in how you speak. You stop saying, I can't afford that. You start saying, I'm choosing not to allocate resources there right now. Same outcome, different energy. One reinforces lack. One reinforces sovereignty. You stop saying, I'm so broke. You start saying, I'm reorganizing my finances. One is victim language. One is creator language. Your words shape your reality because they shape your thoughts. And your thoughts shape your actions. And your actions shape your results. This identity shows up in how you carry yourself. You walk like someone who expects abundance. Shoulders back, head up, breath deep. Presence calm, not arrogant, confident. There's a difference. Arrogance compensates for unworthiness. Confidence comes from clarity. When you know you're worthy of abundance, you don't need to prove it. You just embody it. People feel this energy. They respond to it. Opportunities come to people who carry themselves like they're ready for them. This identity shows up in how you handle money. You manage what you have with respect, regardless of the amount. If you have $10, you treat it well. If you have 10,000, you treat it well. The amount doesn't matter. The energy matters. Scarcity thinking says, when I have more, I'll manage it better. Abundance thinking says, I manage well now, which is why more comes. You prove you can handle abundance by how you handle what you currently have. Your brain is always watching. Show it you're trustworthy with resources. It will bring you more to manage. This identity shows up in how you relate to others. You stop seeing people as competition. You start seeing them as collaboration opportunities. You celebrate their wins genuinely because their success doesn't threaten yours. You share resources freely because you trust more will come. You invest in relationships not because of what you can get, but because of what you can build together. Abundance thinking recognizes that wealth multiplies through connection. Scarcity thinking hoards and isolates. Which energy do you want to operate from? Think about where you'll be 90 days from now if you commit to this blueprint. Your mental map will be completely different. The scarcity programs that have run your life will be background noise. The abundance architecture will be your operating system. You'll make decisions from possibility. You'll see opportunities everywhere. You'll expect good things because you've trained your brain to spot them. Money will flow more easily because you're no longer blocking it with fear and unworthiness. Relationships will deepen because you're operating from overflow. Your nervous system will be calm because you trust in abundance. Your results will reflect your new internal state. Now think about where you'll be 90 days from now if you don't commit. The same scarcity patterns will be running. The same fear-based decisions will be happening. The same opportunities will be missed. The same financial struggles will continue. Not because you are broken or incapable, because your mental map is still drawn for lack. Nothing changes if nothing changes. You already know this. That's why you're here. You're ready for a different map. You're ready to rewire. You're ready to live from abundance instead of chasing it. The blueprint is yours now. Everything you need is in these practices. Morning ARIS recalibration, evening gratitude audit, pattern interrupt replacement, identity level visualization, receiving capacity expansion, abundance decision-making framework, 90-day systematic implementation. These aren't complicated. They're simple. But simple doesn't mean easy. Easy is staying in familiar scarcity. Simple is having a clear path forward. You have the path. The question is, will you walk it? Your brain is waiting for instruction. Right now, it's running old programs because those are the only programs installed. You're about to install new ones, better ones. Programs that serve your expansion instead of your limitation. Programs that open doors instead of closing them. Programs that say yes to life instead of protecting from it. This is the most important work you'll ever do because everything flows from your mental map. Your finances, your relationships, your health, your happiness. All of it traces back to how your mind is wired. And your mind can be rewired. 90 days from now, you won't recognize your old scarcity self. The thoughts that used to dominate will seem foreign. The decisions you used to make will seem small. The life you used to accept will seem limited, not because you're better than who you were, because you've expanded into who you're becoming. The caterpillar doesn't become a better caterpillar. It becomes a butterfly. Different form, different function, different flight pattern. That's what's happening here. You're not improving your scarcity thinking. You're transforming into abundance being. The map is drawn. The path is clear. The practices are simple. The timeline is 90 days. The only thing left is your decision. Will you commit to mapping your mind for abundance? Will you do the daily work even when it feels mechanical? Will you trust the process even when results aren't immediate? Will you choose expansion over protection? Will you become someone who lives from overflow instead of lack? These aren't rhetorical questions. Answer them right now. Feel your answer in your body. If it's yes, you start today, not tomorrow. Today. The first practice happens in the next hour. You ask yourself, what opportunities are available to me right now? And you listen for the answer. That's day 1 of 90. That's the first step of your transformation. Remember, abundance isn't coming to you. You're already standing in it. You just couldn't see it because your map was drawn wrong. Now you have the right map. Now you can see what's been there all along. Opportunities, resources, possibilities, support, all available, all accessible, all yours. Not because you're special, because you're finally aligned. Your mental map matches abundance reality, and when your map matches reality, navigation becomes effortless. You don't have to force, you don't have to hustle, you don't have to prove. You just follow the map, and the map leads to wealth. Not just financial wealth, wealth of peace, wealth of joy, wealth of purpose, wealth of connection, true abundance, complete abundance, sustainable abundance. This is your blueprint. Use it. Trust it. Live it. 90 days of commitment gives you a lifetime of abundance thinking. That's the trade. 3 months of intentional practice for decades of expanded reality. You've already spent years in scarcity thinking. What did that get you? Now try 90 days of abundance thinking. See what that gets you. But let's get specific about what those 90 days actually look like. Because knowing the practices is different from doing them. And doing them once is different from doing them consistently. And doing them consistently when things are easy is different from maintaining them when life gets hard. So we're going to walk through exactly what happens day by day, challenge by challenge, setback by setback. You're going to have a roadmap so detailed that you'll know exactly what to do on day 17 when doubt creeps in, on day 34 when you want to quit, on day 62 when old patterns try to reclaim territory. Day 1 starts the moment you finish this audiobook, not tomorrow morning. Right now, your first micro-challenge is this. Before you do anything else, pull out your phone or a piece of paper. Write down 3 scarcity thoughts you've had in the last 24 hours. Don't overthink it. Just write what comes up. Maybe it was, I can't afford that when you saw something you wanted. Maybe it was, they're so lucky when you saw someone's success. Maybe it was, I'll never get ahead when you checked your bank account. Write all 3 down. Look at them. These are the enemy, not you. The thoughts. They're the old map trying to stay relevant. You're going to replace them starting today. Now write down the abundance replacement for each one. If you wrote, I can't afford that, replace it with, what would make this possible for me? If you wrote, they're so lucky, replace it with, what can I learn from their path? If you wrote, I'll never get ahead, replace it with, I'm building momentum even when I can't see it yet. Feel the difference in energy between the 2 sets of thoughts. The scarcity thoughts, close doors. The abundance thoughts, open windows. You just did your first pattern, interrupt. That's day 1. You've started rewiring. Day 2, you're going to catch yourself in real time. Your assignment is to notice 5 scarcity thoughts as they happen and replace them immediately. Don't wait until the end of the day. The moment you catch yourself thinking scarcity, pause. Take a breath. Choose abundance. This is harder than yesterday's exercise because yesterday you were reflecting. Today you're intercepting. Your brain will resist. It wants to run the old programs automatically. That's fine. Expect resistance. Do it anyway. By the end of day 2, you'll have intercepted 5 scarcity thoughts. That's 5 new neural pathways being formed. 5 investments in your new mental map. Day 3 adds the morning practice. Set your alarm 10 minutes earlier than usual. Before you check your phone, before you start your mental to-do list, before you engage with the world, you're going to ask yourself the RAS recalibration question. What opportunities are available to me right now? Sit with it. Let your mind wander. Maybe you'll think of a skill you haven't monetized. Maybe you'll remember someone you could reach out to. Maybe an idea you've been dismissing will surface. Whatever comes, write it down. Don't judge it. Don't analyze it. Just capture it. Your brain is learning to scan for opportunity instead of obstacle. This one practice will change what you notice throughout your entire day. Day 4, you're combining practices. Morning RAS recalibration plus real-time pattern interrupts. You're building momentum. Your brain is getting multiple abundance inputs. Morning question. Daytime redirects. You're creating a consistency that your nervous system can't ignore. Today, add one more element. At some point during the day, when you're making a decision, any decision, pause and ask yourself, am I choosing this from scarcity or abundance? If you're choosing a cheap option because you're afraid, that's scarcity. If you're choosing a cheap option because it's the wise allocation, that's abundance. The action might look the same. The energy is completely different. Notice the energy behind your choices today. Day 5 introduces evening gratitude. Before bed, write down 3 specific moments of abundance from your day. Not generic statements. Specific moments. The coffee that woke you up. The conversation that made you laugh. The body that carried you through the day. The idea that sparked. The stranger who smiled. The problem you solved. Abundance is everywhere when you train your eyes to see it. Feel genuine appreciation for each moment. Let that feeling settle into your body as you drift to sleep. Your subconscious processes all day while you sleep. You're giving it abundance data to work with instead of worry and lack. Day 6, you're going to test your receiving capacity. Today, your challenge is to accept one thing without deflecting. If someone compliments you, say thank you and stop. Don't minimize. Don't return a compliment immediately. Don't make a joke. Just receive it. If someone offers to help you, say yes. Don't refuse out of pride. Don't over-explain why you need help. Just accept it. If you find money or get an unexpected payment, don't immediately spend it or allocate it. Just sit with having it for a few hours. Notice what comes up. Does receiving feel uncomfortable? Does it trigger guilt? Does it make you want to give it away immediately? These reactions are your receiving capacity showing itself. You're expanding it by practicing receiving without deflection. Day 7 is your first reflection point. You've been doing this for a week. Sit down with your journal and review. How many scarcity thoughts did you catch and replace? How did the morning questions shift your day? What did you notice during evening gratitude? What happened when you practiced receiving? Write it all down. Celebrate the effort. You're not looking for massive external results yet. You're looking for internal shifts. Are you more aware? Are you catching thoughts faster? Are you feeling slightly different? These are the indicators that rewiring is happening. Acknowledge them. Then commit to week 2. Week 2 is about deepening the practices you started. Days 8 through 14. You're doing everything from week 1, but with more precision. Your morning risk question gets more specific. Instead of just what opportunities are available, you're asking what opportunities are available that align with who I'm becoming. This targets your reticular activator more precisely. You're not just scanning for random opportunities, you're scanning for aligned opportunities, the ones that match your growth direction. Your pattern interrupts get faster. By day 10, you should be catching scarcity thoughts within seconds of them forming. By day 12, you might catch them before they fully form. Your brain is learning the pattern. It's starting to auto-correct. Keep tracking. Every replacement strengthens the abundance pathway. Every scarcity thought you let run, unchallenged, strengthens the old pathway. This is neural competition. You're in a battle for which pathway becomes dominant. Abundance wins through repetition. Your evening gratitude gets deeper. Instead of just listing 3 moments, you're feeling into why each moment represents abundance. The coffee represents abundance because someone grew those beans, someone roasted them, someone transported them, someone sold them, and you had the resources to buy them. That 1 cup of coffee required a global network of abundance. When you see it that way, gratitude becomes profound. You're not just grateful for coffee. You're grateful for the entire ecosystem of abundance that delivered it to you. This depth of appreciation rewires your brain at a fundamental level. Day 14. Add visualization. 5 minutes every morning after your RAS question. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Now visualize yourself moving through your day as someone whose mental map is wired for abundance. See yourself waking up calm. See yourself making decisions from possibility. See yourself speaking with confidence. See yourself handling money with ease. See yourself celebrating others' wins. See yourself receiving good news without suspicion. Make it vivid. Make it detailed. Make it real. Your brain is installing this as your new normal. 5 minutes every morning, non-negotiable. Week 3 introduces decision-making practice. Days 15 through 21. Every financial decision you make runs through the abundance framework. The 4 questions. Does this align with who I'm becoming? What's the worst realistic outcome? What's the best realistic outcome? Can I handle the worst to potentially gain the best? You're not just thinking about these questions. You're writing your answers down. Every decision, buying groceries, choosing a streaming service, deciding whether to invest in a course, evaluating a job opportunity, run them all through the framework. You're building a decision-making muscle that operates from abundance instead of fear. Let me show you how this works with a real example. Picture a man named Marcus. He's on day 18 of his 90-day rewrite. He gets an email about a business mastermind. It costs $3,000. His immediate reaction is scarcity. That's so much money. I can't afford that. What if it's a waste? But Marcus has been doing the work. He catches the scarcity thought. He pauses. He runs it through the framework. Does this align with who I'm becoming? Marcus is becoming someone who invests in growth, someone who surrounds himself with ambitious people, someone who values learning. Yes, it aligns. What's the worst realistic outcome? He spends $3,000 and doesn't connect with anyone. He learns some things he already knew. He's out the money. It would sting, but it wouldn't destroy him. He'd still have his income. He'd still have his skills. What's the best realistic outcome? He meets someone who becomes a business partner. He learns strategies that increase his income by $20,000 in the next year. He joins a community that supports his growth for years. He gains confidence and clarity. Can he handle the worst case to potentially gain the best case? Marcus realizes he can. He spent $3,000 on things that gave him nothing. At least this has potential for massive return. Marcus joins the mastermind. 3 months later, he meets someone who refers him a client worth $15,000. 6 months later, he's implemented a pricing strategy from the group that increases his revenue by 30%. 1 year later, He's part of a community that has completely transformed his business and his mindset. The $3,000 was the best money he ever spent, but more importantly, he made the decision from abundance. That decision created the result. If he'd decided from scarcity, he'd have said no, protected his $3,000, and missed everything that came from saying yes. What decision are you facing right now that scarcity is telling you to avoid? Run it through the framework. Write down your honest answers. See what emerges. You might surprise yourself with what becomes possible when you decide from abundance instead of fear. Day 21 is your second reflection checkpoint. 3 weeks in. You've been doing morning RAS recalibration for 19 days. You've been doing pattern interrupts for 21 days. You've been doing evening gratitude for 17 days. You've been visualizing for 7 days. You've been running decisions through the abundance framework for 7 days. That's significant neural activity. Your brain is changing. Sit down and assess. What's different? How are you thinking about money now compared to day 1? What opportunities have you noticed that you wouldn't have seen before? What decisions have you made differently? Write it all down. This is your progress report. You're not the same person who started this journey 3 weeks ago. Acknowledge that. Week 4 through week 8 is where the transformation accelerates. You've built the foundation. Now you're building the structure. Days 22 through 56, all your practices continue. But we're adding layers. We're going deeper. We're handling the challenges that inevitably come. Because here's what nobody tells you about rewiring your brain. It fights back. Around day 25, you'll hit resistance. You'll wake up one morning and think this is stupid. Nothing's changing. I'm wasting my time. This is the scarcity operating system's last stand. It's losing territory. It's trying to convince you to quit. Don't quit. This is exactly when the work matters most. The resistance means you're breaking through. Your old patterns are fighting for survival. Let them fight. Keep doing the practices. On day 25, when doubt hits, you're going to do a special exercise. Write down every piece of evidence that abundance thinking is working. Not evidence that you're rich. Evidence that you're thinking differently. Maybe you spoke up in a meeting when you normally wouldn't. Maybe you applied for a position you would have thought was out of reach. Maybe you spent money on growth instead of hoarding it. Maybe you received a compliment without deflecting. Maybe you noticed an opportunity you would have missed. All of this is evidence. Write it down. Read it back to yourself. You're not failing. You're transforming. Transformation is uncomfortable. Keep going. Day 30 brings another challenge. People in your life will notice you're different. Some will be supportive. Some will be threatened. When you start operating from abundance, it highlights other people's scarcity. They might make comments. You're so confident now. You're changing. You're not the same anymore. These comments can feel like criticism. They're actually confirmation. You are changing. That's the point. Don't let other people's discomfort pull you back into scarcity thinking. Smile. Thank them. Keep doing your practices. The right people will celebrate your growth. The wrong people will resent it. Both responses give you information about who belongs in your new abundant life. Around day 35, you might experience what I call abundance anxiety. This is when good things start happening and your nervous system panics. Maybe you get a financial win. Maybe an opportunity appears. Maybe someone offers to help you. Your old wiring says this is too good to be true. It says the other shoe will drop. It says you don't deserve this. This is your receiving capacity being tested. Remember your practice. Receive without deflecting. Say thank you. Let it land. Don't immediately create a problem to return to familiar struggle. Breathe through the discomfort of good things happening. Your nervous system is learning that abundance is safe. Give it time to adjust. Day 42 is your halfway point, 6 weeks in. This is significant. You've been rewiring for a month and a half. Your neural pathways are substantially different than when you started. Do a full audit. Morning practices. How consistent have you been? If you've missed days, don't shame yourself. Just recommit. Pattern interrupts. Are they becoming automatic? Most people report that by week 6, abundance thinking starts to feel natural. Evening gratitude. Has it deepened your appreciation for life? Visualization. Can you feel the identity of abundance when you practice? Decision-making. Have your choices changed? Receiving. Is it getting easier? Write your honest assessment. Then look at your external world. What's different? Often by week 6 there are tangible results. Maybe not massive wealth yet, but shifts, opportunities, connections, synchronicities, money showing up in unexpected ways. Acknowledge what's working. Then set your intention for the second half. Weeks 7 and 8 are about solidifying what you've built. Days 43 through 56, you're living from the new map consistently. It's not effort anymore, it's identity. This is also when you start stress testing the new wiring. You're going to intentionally put yourself in situations that would have triggered scarcity before. Maybe you're going to ask for a raise. Maybe you're going to have a money conversation with your partner. Maybe you're going to invest in something that scares you. Maybe you're going to say no to something that doesn't align even though it pays. These are advanced practices. You're testing whether your abundance architecture holds under pressure. Let me tell you about a woman named Patricia. She's on day 48. She's been doing the work consistently. Her thinking has shifted. She's noticing opportunities. She's making different decisions. Then her car breaks down. The repair costs $2,000. Old Patricia would have panicked, would have spiraled into, why does this always happen to me? Would have seen it as proof that she can't get ahead. New Patricia takes a breath, runs it through her abundance framework. This is a problem, but not a crisis. She has $2,000 in savings because she's been managing money differently. She can handle this. She pays for the repair without drama. Then she asks herself, what's the opportunity here? Maybe it's time to negotiate her salary since she's been undervalued. Maybe it's time to start that side business she's been considering. Maybe it's time to sell some things she doesn't need. The breakdown doesn't derail her. It redirects her. She uses it as fuel for expansion instead of evidence for limitation. That's abundance architecture under pressure. By day 56, you should be able to handle setbacks without returning to scarcity thinking. You'll feel the initial trigger. The old pattern will activate briefly, but you'll catch it within seconds. You'll redirect. You'll choose abundance. You'll move forward. This is mastery developing. You're not perfect. You're not immune to challenges, but you're resilient. You bounce back faster. You don't spiral. You don't catastrophize. You handle reality from a foundation of abundance instead of a foundation of fear. Week 9 through week 12 is the final integration. Days 57 through 90. You're living from your new blueprint full-time. But we're not just maintaining. We're expanding further. We're adding advanced practices. We're preparing you for life after the 90 days. Because the goal isn't to do this for 90 days and then stop. The goal is to rewire so thoroughly that abundance thinking becomes permanent. Day 57, you're going to add a weekly money date with yourself. Every week, same day, same time, you sit down with your finances. Not from stress, from stewardship. You look at what came in. You look at what went out. You notice patterns. You make adjustments. You celebrate wins. You identify opportunities. This practice keeps you connected to your money in a healthy way. Most people avoid their finances because of shame or fear. You're engaging with yours from abundance. You're managing what you have with respect. You're planning for expansion. This one practice will transform your relationship with money permanently. Day 60 introduces legacy thinking. You're going to start asking yourself, what do I want to build that outlasts me? This isn't morbid, it's expansive. When you think beyond your own lifetime, you think bigger. You make different choices. You invest differently. You create differently. Maybe you want to build generational wealth for your family. Maybe you want to create a business that employs people. Maybe you want to fund causes you believe in. Maybe you want to teach others what you've learned. Whatever your legacy vision is, write it down. Let it inform your daily decisions. Abundance thinking isn't just about having more. It's about creating more for others. Day 65. You're going to practice generous abundance. Give something away that costs you something, not pocket change, something that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Maybe it's $100 to a cause you believe in. Maybe it's paying for a stranger's groceries. Maybe it's offering your skills for free to someone who needs them. The point is to practice giving from overflow instead of giving to prove something or giving to get something back. When you give from true abundance, you're telling your nervous system there's more where that came from. You're reinforcing the mental map. Resources flow to me and through me. I'm a conduit, not a dam. Around day 70, you might experience what I call the abundance plateau. You've been doing the work for 10 weeks. The initial excitement has worn off. The practices feel routine. The results might feel incremental instead of explosive. This is normal. This is actually where most people quit. They expect constant dramatic progress. Real transformation is often subtle. It's the accumulation of tiny shifts that create massive change over time. Don't quit at the plateau. This is where you're solidifying. Your brain is making the new pathways permanent. Keep showing up. Keep doing the practices. The breakthrough is coming. Day 77, you're going to do an experiment. For one full day, you're going to act as if you're already living your abundant life. Not fake it. Embody it. How would you move through the day if you already had the financial freedom you want? You'd be calm. You'd be generous. You'd be present. You'd make decisions from possibility. You'd treat people with respect regardless of their status. You'd enjoy simple pleasures without guilt. You'd invest in yourself without hesitation. You'd trust yourself completely. Spend one full day being that person. Notice what happens. Notice how people respond to you. Notice how you feel. Notice what opportunities appear. This experiment shows you that abundance is available right now. You don't have to wait for external circumstances to change. You can choose the identity today. Day 84 is your final checkpoint before completion. 12 weeks in. You've been doing this work for 3 months. Your brain is fundamentally different than when you started. Do your most thorough assessment yet. Pull out everything you've written over the last 12 weeks. Read through your day 1 scarcity thoughts. They'll feel foreign now. Read through your week 3 progress notes. You've come so far since then. Read through your challenges and how you handled them. You've built resilience. Now look at your current state. How do you think about money? How do you make decisions? How do you receive abundance? How do you handle setbacks? Who are you becoming? Write it all down. This is your transformation documented. You're not the same person. You have a different mental map, and that different map is about to create a different life. The final week, days 85 through 90, is about cementing your new identity and preparing for maintenance. You're not stopping the practices after day 90. You're integrating them into your life permanently. So this week, you're creating your sustainability plan. What practices are non-negotiable for you? Maybe it's the morning RAS question. Maybe it's evening gratitude. Maybe it's weekly money dates. Maybe it's monthly audits. Maybe it's all of them. Decide what keeps you aligned. Write it down. Schedule it. Protect it. These practices are what maintain your abundance architecture. Without them, old patterns can creep back in. Day 90 is both an ending and a beginning. You've completed the intensive rewiring period. Your mental map is redrawn. Your neural pathways are rebuilt. Your identity is shifted. You think like someone who expects abundance because you are someone who expects abundance. Celebrate this. Acknowledge yourself. You did something most people never do. You changed your brain. You rewired your operating system. You chose growth over comfort. That's significant. But day 91 starts your maintenance phase. This is where the real test begins. Can you sustain this new way of thinking when the structure of the 90 days is gone? Can you maintain your practices when life gets busy? Can you stay in abundance thinking when challenges come? The answer is yes, but only if you're intentional. So let's talk about relapse-proofing your abundance mindset. Relapse happens when stress overwhelms your new pathways and old patterns take over. It happens to everyone. The key is catching it early and redirecting quickly. Here are the warning signs that you're slipping back into scarcity thinking. First, you start avoiding your finances again. You stop doing money dates. You stop checking your accounts. You go back to financial avoidance. This is a red flag. Second, your language changes. You start saying, I can't afford that, instead of, how can I make this possible? You start complaining about lack instead of celebrating abundance. Words reveal thinking. When your words shift to scarcity, your thinking has already shifted. Third, you stop doing your practices. You skip morning RAS questions. You forget evening gratitude. You don't visualize. You let pattern interrupts slide. When practices slip, mindset follows. Fourth, you start making decisions from fear again. You say no to opportunities because they're risky. You hoard money instead of investing it. You play small to stay safe. Fear-based decisions reveal scarcity operating system reactivation. Fifth, you stop celebrating others. You feel envious instead of inspired when someone succeeds. You compare yourself negatively. You feel behind. Comparison and envy are scarcity signals. Catch any of these 5 signs early. They're your abundance architecture alarm system. When you catch the signs, here's your relapse recovery protocol. First, do not shame yourself. Shame reinforces scarcity. Instead, acknowledge what's happening with compassion. You're human. Stress triggered old patterns. That's normal. Notice it, accept it, then choose differently. Second, return to basics immediately. Do a morning RAS question. Do evening gratitude. Do one visualization. Get back in the practice rhythm. Don't try to do everything perfectly. Just do something. Movement breaks stagnation. Third, identify the trigger. What caused the slip? Was it a financial setback? A relationship stress? A health issue? A comparison spiral? A rejection? Understanding the trigger helps you prepare for it next time. Fourth, use your abundance anchors. Remember those environmental reminders you set up? Use them. Read your identity statement. Look at your progress notes. Call your accountability partner. Listen to this audiobook again. Reconnect with the work. Fifth, make one abundance-based decision immediately. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe you invest $10 in yourself. Maybe you reach out to an opportunity. Maybe you give something away. One decision from abundance reverses the scarcity momentum. Do this protocol within 24 hours of noticing the slip. The faster you catch and redirect, the less time you spend in scarcity state. And the less time you spend there, the weaker those pathways stay. Over time, you'll catch slips within hours instead of days. Eventually, you'll catch them within minutes. Your abundance architecture becomes resilient. It can handle stress without breaking down. Now let's talk about specific scenarios that tend to trigger scarcity relapse and how to handle them. First scenario, unexpected major expense. Your transmission fails. Your roof needs repair. Your kid needs braces. Something costs thousands of dollars you didn't plan for. Old pattern says this is proof you can't get ahead. New pattern says this is a problem to solve, not evidence of failure. Abundance response: take a breath. Assess your options. Can you pay it from savings? Can you create a payment plan? Can you increase income to cover it? Can you negotiate the cost? Move through the problem strategically. Don't catastrophize. Handle it. Then ask, what's the opportunity? Maybe it's time to build a bigger emergency fund. Maybe it's time to increase your income streams. Maybe it's time to learn a new skill. Use the setback as a catalyst. Second scenario, someone close to you experiences major financial success. Your friend buys a house. Your colleague gets a huge promotion. Your sibling starts a successful business. Old pattern says they're so lucky, that will never happen to me. New pattern says their success proves abundance is available. Abundance response: genuinely celebrate them. Ask them about their journey. Learn from their path. Let their win inspire your strategy. Use it as evidence that abundance is real and accessible. If they did it, you can too. Their success doesn't reduce your possibilities. It confirms them. Third scenario, you take a risk and it doesn't work out. You invest in a course and don't get the results you wanted. You start a business and it fails. You ask for a raise and get denied. Old pattern says, I knew it wouldn't work. I should have played it safe. I'm not meant for success. New pattern says this was data, not destiny. Abundance response: extract the lesson. What did you learn? What would you do differently? What skill did you build? What clarity did you gain? Failure is feedback when you're operating from abundance. It's only proof of inadequacy when you're operating from scarcity. Honor the attempt. Integrate the learning. Apply it to the next opportunity. Keep moving forward. Fourth scenario, prolonged financial dry spell. Money isn't flowing. Opportunities aren't appearing. You're doing everything right, but results aren't showing up. Old pattern says none of this works. I'm back where I started. Abundance thinking is fantasy. New pattern says dry spells are part of the cycle, not proof of failure. Abundance response: double down on practices. When external evidence is scarce, internal work matters most. Do your morning questions. Do your gratitude. Do your visualization. Keep your mental map clean. Use the dry spell to build skills, strengthen relationships, refine strategies. The flow will return. It always does. Your job is to stay in abundance, thinking so you recognize it and receive it when it comes. Fifth scenario. Someone criticizes your abundance journey. A family member says you're being unrealistic. A friend says you're changing and they don't like it. A partner says you're wasting time on this mindset stuff. Old pattern says maybe they're right. Maybe I'm fooling myself. Maybe I should go back to normal. New pattern says their criticism reveals their scarcity, not my error. Abundance response: thank them for their concern. Then ignore them. You're not responsible for making them comfortable with your growth. Keep doing your work. Let your results speak for themselves. Over time, your transformation will either inspire them or they'll fade from your life. Either outcome is fine. Protect your mental map from other people's scarcity. Each of these scenarios will happen, probably multiple times. Having a pre-planned response means you don't have to figure out what to do in the moment when stress is high and old patterns are activated. You already know the abundance response. You just execute it. This is relapse proofing. You're not trying to avoid challenges. You're preparing to handle them from abundance instead of scarcity. Now let's get granular with your day-by-day sustainability plan for life after the 90 days. Monday mornings, you do a weekly intention setting. What's your abundance focus for this week? Maybe it's making one decision from possibility instead of fear. Maybe it's having one uncomfortable money conversation. Maybe it's investing in yourself in some way. Maybe it's practicing receiving without deflecting. Set one clear intention. Write it down. Let it guide your week. Tuesday evenings, you review your spending and earning from the past week. Not from judgment, from curiosity. Where did money go? Where did it come from? Are you allocating resources in alignment with your values? Are you investing in growth? Are you managing what you have with respect? Make any needed adjustments. This keeps you engaged with your finances in a healthy, consistent way. Wednesday midday, you do a pattern interrupt audit. How many scarcity thoughts have you had this week? How many did you catch and replace? Are old patterns creeping back? Are new patterns solidifying? This midweek check-in prevents drift. You catch slips early. You course-correct immediately. Thursday mornings, you do an extended visualization, 10 minutes instead of 5. Really sink into the identity of someone living from abundance. Feel it deeply. Let it saturate your nervous system. This weekly deep practice keeps the identity vivid. It prevents the abundance version of you from becoming abstract or forgotten. Friday afternoons, you do a win celebration. What went well this week financially? What abundant choice did you make? What opportunity did you spot? What growth happened? Write it down. Celebrate it. Your brain needs positive reinforcement. When you acknowledge wins, you create motivation to create more wins. Saturday mornings, you do something generous. Give, help, share, contribute. From overflow, not obligation. This weekly practice of generosity reinforces your abundance identity. You're living proof that resources flow through you, not just to you. Sunday evenings, you do a weekly reflection and gratitude practice. What are you grateful for from this week? What challenged you? How did you handle it? What did you learn? What are you carrying into next week? This closing ritual completes the weekly cycle. It creates a rhythm. Your brain loves rhythm. It makes practices sustainable. That's your weekly maintenance structure. 7 intentional practices spread across 7 days. They take maybe 2 hours total for the week. That's a small investment to maintain a mental map that creates abundance. Most people spend more time than that scrolling social media and consuming content that reinforces scarcity. You're investing that time in practices that reinforce abundance. That's the difference between people who transform and people who stay stuck. Monthly, you do a full abundance audit. First Sunday of every month, you sit down with your journal. You review the entire month. What shifted? What grew? What challenged you? What patterns emerged? What decisions paid off? What decisions didn't? What do you need to adjust? What do you need to amplify? Where is abundance showing up? Where is scarcity trying to creep back? This monthly zoom out keeps you honest. It prevents you from drifting unconsciously. It ensures your mental map stays calibrated for abundance. Quarterly, you update your vision. Every 3 months, you revisit what you're building. Has your vision expanded? Has it clarified? Has it shifted? Are you still aligned with where you're going? Abundance isn't static. As you grow, your vision grows. Let it evolve. Adjust your practices to match your expanding vision. This keeps your journey dynamic instead of stagnant. Annually, you do a complete mental map assessment. Once a year, you look at where you were 12 months ago versus where you are now. How has your thinking changed? How have your results changed? How has your identity changed? What abundance have you created? What growth have you experienced? What's possible now that wasn't possible before? This annual reflection shows you the compound effect of consistent abundance thinking. You'll be amazed at how far you've come. That amazement fuels commitment for the next year. This is your sustainability architecture. Daily practices, weekly rhythms, monthly audits, quarterly updates, annual assessments. It's a complete system for maintaining your abundance mental map permanently. It's not rigid. You can adjust it to fit your life. But you need some structure. Without structure, old patterns return. With structure, new patterns become permanent. Let me tell you one final story that brings all of this together. There's a man named Robert. He started his 90-day mental map rewrite 3 years ago. He was broke, bitter, and stuck. He had a scarcity operating system running so deep he couldn't see it. He was 42 years old, working a job he hated, making $40,000 a year, living paycheck to paycheck, blaming everyone and everything for his circumstances, the economy, his boss, his ex-wife, his parents, his luck. He was a victim of life. Then he hit bottom. Medical emergency. No insurance. $20,000 in debt overnight. That crisis cracked him open. He realized his mindset was the problem, not his circumstances, his thinking. He found this work. He committed to 90 days. Day 1, he could barely complete the practices without his scarcity programs screaming at him. Day 15, he almost quit. Day 30, people told him he was wasting his time. Day 50, he had a setback that tested everything. But he kept going. By day 90, his mental map was different. He hadn't become a millionaire, but he thought like someone who could. He saw opportunities everywhere. He made decisions from possibility. He expected abundance, and abundance started showing up. A friend mentioned a job opening. Robert applied. Got it. $60,000 a year. Not a fortune, but 40% more than before. He used the raise to pay down debt and invest in a certification. That certification led to consulting gigs. The consulting gigs led to a business idea. The business idea led to revenue. Within 2 years of starting his mental map rewrite, Robert was making 6 figures. Not from his job, from his business. The business he built because his abundance architecture allowed him to see the opportunity and take the risk. But here's what matters more than the money. Robert is a different person. He walks differently. He talks differently. He thinks differently. He's calm. He's confident. He's generous. He's present. He's grateful. He lives from overflow instead of lack. His relationships improved because he stopped operating from desperation. His health improved because he stopped stress eating and avoiding exercise. His whole life expanded because his mental map expanded. 3 years later, Robert still does his practices. Every morning, rest question. Every evening, gratitude. Every week, money date. Every month, audit. Every quarter, vision update. Every year, assessment. The practices are non-negotiable. They're what keep his abundance architecture strong. He's had setbacks in these 3 years. Business slow months, client issues, personal challenges. But he doesn't spiral anymore. He catches scarcity thinking quickly. He redirects to abundance. He handles problems from overflow instead of panic. That's the real transformation. Not that life became perfect, that he became resilient. Robert tells people his 90-day mental map rewrite was the most important thing he's ever done. Not because it made him money, because it changed who he is. And who he is determines everything else. That's what this blueprint offers you. Not a get-rich-quick scheme. A complete neural rewiring that changes how you think, how you decide, how you show up, and therefore what you create. The money is a byproduct. The real product is you. A version of you that operates from abundance instead of scarcity. A version of you that expects good things because you know you're worthy of them. A version of you that builds wealth because your mental map allows it. You have everything you need now. The understanding of how your brain works. The practices to rewire it. The 90-day plan to do it systematically. The maintenance structure to sustain it permanently. The relapse-proofing strategies to protect it when stress comes. The day-by-day guidance to navigate every challenge. All that's left is your decision. Will you commit to mapping your mind for abundance? Will you do the 90 days? Will you maintain the practices? Will you become someone who lives from overflow instead of lack? If you commit, your life will change, not because of magic, because of neuroscience. Your brain will rewire. Your thoughts will shift. Your decisions will change. Your actions will align. Your results will follow. That's the sequence. That's the blueprint. That's the promise. 90 days of intentional practice creates a lifetime of abundance thinking. 3 months of commitment changes everything that comes after. The map is drawn. The path is clear. The practices are proven. The timeline is 90 days. The only variable is you. Will you walk the path? Will you do the work? Will you trust the process? The answer determines your financial future. Not because abundance is out there waiting for you to find it, because abundance is in here, waiting for you to align with it. Your mental map is the alignment mechanism. Rewire the map. Receive the abundance. It's that simple. Not easy. Simple. Everything you've wanted is available. You just needed the right map to navigate toward it. You have that map now. Use it. Trust it. Follow it. 90 days from now, you'll be unrecognizable to your current scarcity-minded self. 1 year from now, your life will reflect your new mental architecture. 5 years from now, you'll tell your story of transformation to someone else who needs to hear that change is possible. You'll be living proof that mental maps can be redrawn, that abundance is available, that anyone can rewire their brain for wealth. This is your moment. This is your invitation. This is your blueprint. Accept it. Commit to it. Execute it. Your abundant life is waiting, not in the future. Right now, in your next thought, in your next decision, in your next practice. Abundance isn't coming. You're already standing in it. You just needed new eyes to see it. You have those eyes now. Look around. See the opportunities. See the resources. See the possibilities. They were always there. Now you can finally see them. And what you can see, you can claim. And what you claim becomes your reality. Welcome to your new mental map. Welcome to abundance architecture. Welcome to the life you were always designed to live. The life that's been waiting for you to become ready for it. You're ready now. The work begins today. Day 1 of 90. The first step of your transformation. Take it, and then take the next step, and the next, for 90 days straight. Commit. Execute. Transform. Your abundant future starts with your abundant thinking. And your abundant thinking starts right now. But before we close, let's go even deeper into the specific mental techniques that accelerate your abundance rewiring. Because knowing the practices is one thing, understanding the underlying mechanisms is what creates mastery. When you know why something works, you can adapt it, strengthen it, and apply it more effectively. So let's break down the neuroscience behind each practice and give you advanced variations that compound your results. The morning RS recalibration works because your reticular activating system is most programmable in the first 30 minutes after waking. Your brain is transitioning from theta wave sleep state to beta wave conscious state. During this transition, your subconscious is still accessible. This is why the first thoughts you think in the morning tend to set the tone for your entire day. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, you're letting external inputs program your RAS. Email problems, news anxiety, social media comparison, all of that becomes your filter for the day. Instead, when you ask what opportunities are available to me right now before engaging with external world, you're consciously programming your filter. You're telling your brain what to look for, and your brain is obedient. It will find what you tell it to seek. Advanced variation of the morning practice. After asking the basic question, add a second layer. Ask, what would I do today if I knew abundance was guaranteed? Then let your mind show you. Maybe you'd make that phone call you've been avoiding. Maybe you'd start that project you've been delaying. Maybe you'd have that conversation you've been dreading. Whatever comes up, that's your inspired action for the day. Your abundance-aligned move. Do it. Don't overthink it. Just take the action your abundant self would take. This trains your brain. That abundance thinking leads to abundance action, which leads to abundance results. The loop reinforces itself. The evening gratitude practice works because your brain processes and consolidates information during sleep. Whatever emotional state you're in when you fall asleep gets reinforced during sleep cycles. If you fall asleep stressed about money, your brain spends 8 hours reinforcing stress pathways. If you fall asleep grateful for abundance, your brain spends 8 hours reinforcing abundance pathways. This is unconscious programming. You're literally rewiring yourself while you sleep. The more specific and felt your gratitude, the stronger the programming. Advanced variation of evening practice. Instead of just listing 3 moments of abundance, choose one and expand it into a full sensory memory. If you're grateful for a conversation you had, replay it in your mind. See the person's face. Hear their voice. Feel the emotion of the connection. Let yourself relive the moment fully. This creates a stronger neural imprint. Your brain experiences it again. The pathway deepens. Then, just before sleep, say out loud, "I'm grateful for the abundance that filled my day. Tomorrow brings even more." This verbal declaration combined with the sensory memory creates a powerful sleep programming sequence. Pattern interrupt replacement works because neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you think a scarcity thought, you're firing a specific neural network: survival fear neurons, comparison anxiety neurons, unworthiness shame neurons. They all light up in sequence. That's the scarcity network. When you interrupt the pattern and consciously choose an abundance thought, you're firing a different network. Possibility neurons, gratitude neurons, worthiness neurons. At first, the scarcity network is a superhighway. The abundance network is a dirt path. But every replacement is like paving the path. Every scarcity thought you catch and redirect makes the dirt path a little wider, a little smoother. After enough repetitions, the abundance path becomes the highway. The scarcity path falls into disuse. Eventually, your brain defaults to abundance because that pathway is now the path of least resistance. Advanced variation of pattern interrupt. When you catch a scarcity thought, don't just replace it. Question it first. Ask, is this absolutely true? Where's the evidence? What else could be true? This is Byron Katie's inquiry method applied to abundance work. When you question scarcity thoughts, you weaken their power. They're not facts, they're just thoughts. And thoughts can be examined, challenged, and changed. After questioning, then replace. The combination of inquiry plus replacement creates faster rewiring than replacement alone. Visualization from identity works because your brain's visual cortex doesn't distinguish between imagined and real experiences. When you visualize vividly, your brain creates the same neural patterns as if you were actually living the experience. This is why athletes use visualization to improve performance. They mentally rehearse perfect execution. Their brains build the neural pathways for success. Then, when they physically perform, their brains already know the pattern. You're doing the same thing with abundance. You're mentally rehearsing abundant identity. Your brain is building the pathways. When real opportunities appear, your brain already knows the pattern. You execute naturally. Advanced variation of visualization. Add a completion ritual. After you finish your visualization, place your hand on your heart and say, "This is who I am becoming. This is already true at the identity level. I claim this version of myself." This verbal claiming plus physical touch creates an embodiment anchor. You're not just seeing the abundant you. You're declaring it. You're feeling it in your body. This full system engagement accelerates integration. The receiving capacity practice works because your nervous system has a set point for how much goodness it can handle. This set point was established in childhood based on what you experienced as normal. If you grew up with scarcity, your nervous system calibrated to scarcity. When abundance shows up, your system goes into alarm. Too much, too good, not normal, danger. So it creates chaos to return to the familiar set point of lack. Raising your receiving capacity means slowly expanding your nervous system's set point for goodness. You teach it that abundance is safe, that receiving is allowed, that you can handle overflow without self-destructing. Advanced variation of receiving practice. When you receive something, whether a compliment, help, or money, pause and feel where it lands in your body. Does your chest tighten? Does your stomach clench? Does your throat constrict? These are nervous system resistance points. Breathe into that area. Imagine the resistance softening. Imagine your body expanding to hold the goodness. Say silently, I allow myself to receive this fully. Stay with the sensation until your body relaxes. This somatic practice expands your capacity at the nervous system level, not just the mental level. Now let's talk about money energy, because this is where most abundance teaching goes wrong. People talk about money as if it's just a tool or a resource. It is those things, but it's also energy. Money flows, it moves, it responds to your relationship with it. When you're desperate for money, you repel it. Desperation is scarcity energy. It says, I don't have enough. I need this to survive. I'm in danger without it. That energy creates clenching, and clenching blocks flow. When you're relaxed about money, you attract it. Relaxation is abundance energy. It says, I'm okay right now. I trust that resources come. I'm open to receive. That energy creates flow, and flow brings money. This isn't mystical. It's practical psychology. When you're desperate, you make poor decisions. You take bad deals. You tolerate disrespect. You undercharge. You overwork. All of this creates scarcity results. When you're relaxed, you make clear decisions. You wait for good deals. You demand respect. You charge appropriately. You work strategically. All of this creates abundance results. The energy you bring to money determines the results you get with money. Here's a practice for shifting your money energy. Every time you spend money, no matter how small the amount, say silently or out loud, thank you for flowing through me. There's more where that came from. This shifts spending from loss energy to flow energy. You're not losing money. Money is flowing through you. And flow implies circulation. What flows out flows back in. Do this for 30 days. Watch how your relationship with spending changes. The anxiety decreases. The trust increases. The flow becomes real. Every time you receive money, no matter how small the amount, say silently or out loud, thank you for flowing to me. I receive this with gratitude. This shifts receiving from guilt energy to appreciation energy. You're not taking something you don't deserve. Money is flowing to you, and you're grateful for the flow. This opens your receiving capacity. Money comes easier because you're not blocking it with unworthiness. Do this for 30 days. Watch how your relationship with receiving changes. The deflection decreases. The acceptance increases. The capacity expands. Let me tell you about a woman named Lisa who transformed her money energy completely. She was a freelance designer making $30,000 a year. She worked constantly but never had enough. She was exhausted and bitter. Her money energy was desperation mixed with resentment. Every time she got paid, she immediately paid bills and felt the money disappear. Every time she spent money, she felt guilty and anxious. She was in a scarcity spiral. Then she learned about money energy. She started doing the flow practice. Thank you for flowing through me. Thank you for flowing to me. It felt fake at first, but she committed for 30 days. By day 10, something shifted. A client asked her rates. Instead of her usual $40 an hour, she heard herself say $75 an hour. She was shocked. She'd never charged that much. The client said yes without hesitation. Lisa realized her old rate was set by desperation energy. Her new rate came from flow energy. She started raising her rates with every new client. Within 6 months, she was making $60,000 a year. Same work, same hours, different energy. The money flowing to her increased because she was no longer blocking it with scarcity energy. But here's what really changed for Lisa: her relationship with herself. She stopped seeing herself as someone who struggled. She started seeing herself as someone through whom abundance flowed. That identity shift changed everything. She started saying no to clients who didn't respect her. She started investing in better tools. She started collaborating with other designers instead of competing. She started enjoying her work instead of resenting it. 2 years later, she's making 6 figures. But more importantly, she's at peace with money. It flows to her. It flows through her. She trusts the cycle. That's money energy mastery. Now let's talk about the abundance of time, because time scarcity is as destructive as money scarcity. Most people live like time is running out. They rush. They multitask. They never have enough hours. This creates stress, and stress creates scarcity thinking. When you're stressed about time, you make fear-based decisions. You say yes to things you should decline. You do tasks yourself instead of delegating. You sacrifice sleep and health to meet deadlines. All of this reinforces the belief that there's not enough time, which creates more time scarcity. It's a loop. Abundance thinking about time starts with this truth: you have all the time you need for what truly matters. Notice the qualifier: what truly matters. Not everything, not every request, not every opportunity. What truly matters. When you're clear on what matters, time abundance becomes real. You protect time for priorities. You say no to distractions. You create space for what expands you. You stop rushing and start flowing. This doesn't mean you're never busy. It means you're busy with intention instead of busy from desperation. Here's a practice for time abundance. Every morning, before you look at your calendar or to-do list, ask yourself, if I could only accomplish 3 things today, what would create the most abundance? Not the most tasks, the most abundance. Maybe it's a difficult conversation that creates clarity. Maybe it's an hour of deep work that produces real value. Maybe it's rest that restores your energy. Whatever the 3 things are, those become your non-negotiables. Everything else is secondary. When you finish the 3 things, you've had an abundant day regardless of what else did or didn't happen. This practice stops you from measuring your day by how much you did and starts measuring by whether you did what mattered. That's time abundance. Let's go deeper into the actual language patterns that reveal and reinforce your mental map. The words you use shape the thoughts you think. The thoughts you think determine the actions you take. So changing your language literally changes your life. But most people don't realize they're speaking scarcity language. It's so automatic, they don't hear it. Let me show you the most common scarcity language patterns and their abundance translations. Scarcity says, I can't afford that. Abundance says, I'm choosing to allocate my resources differently right now. Feel the difference. One is victim language. One is sovereign language. One says you're powerless. One says you're in choice. Even if the outcome is the same, you didn't buy the thing. The energy is completely different. Victim energy creates more victimhood. Sovereign energy creates more sovereignty. Scarcity says, I have to work. Abundance says, I choose to work because it serves my goals. Again, you're still working. But have to is obligation energy. Choose to is empowerment energy. Obligation drains you. Empowerment fuels you. When you shift from have to choose to, Even tasks you don't love become more tolerable because you're taking ownership. Scarcity says, I'm so broke. Abundance says, I'm reorganizing my finances. Broke is an identity statement. You're declaring yourself as broken. Reorganizing is an action statement. You're declaring yourself as active. Identity creates destiny. When you say I'm broke, you reinforce broke identity. When you say I'm reorganizing, you reinforce agency. Scarcity says money doesn't grow on trees. Abundance says money circulates, and I'm part of the circulation. The tree saying is meant to teach restraint, but it actually teaches limitation. It implies money is scarce and hard to get. The circulation reframe teaches flow. Money moves. You can tap into the movement. One creates closed thinking. One creates open thinking. Scarcity says, rich people are greedy. Abundance says, some rich people are generous and some are greedy, just like people at every income level. This removes the moral judgment from wealth. When you demonize rich people, you subconsciously avoid wealth to maintain your identity as a good person. When you recognize that character and income are separate, you can pursue wealth without guilt. Track your language for 3 days. Every time you catch yourself using scarcity language, write it down. Don't judge it. Just notice it. After 3 days, you'll have a list of your most common patterns. Then start replacing them. Every time you hear yourself about to say a scarcity phrase, pause and choose the abundance version. It will feel awkward at first. That's good. Awkward means you're changing. After 21 days of consistent language replacement, the new phrases will feel natural. After 60 days, they'll be automatic. Your words will reflect your new mental map, and your new mental map will create new results. Let's talk about the relationship between worthiness and wealth, because this is the deepest block most people face. You can do all the practices, shift all the language, and rewire all the patterns, but if you don't believe you're worthy of abundance, you'll sabotage every result. Unworthiness is the root of all scarcity. It whispers you don't deserve this. It points to your flaws as evidence. It compares you to others who seem more deserving. It creates a ceiling on what you allow yourself to receive. Unworthiness usually comes from childhood conditioning. Maybe your parents struggled, and you absorbed the belief that struggle is your family legacy. Maybe you were told you were lazy, or stupid, or not good enough. Maybe you experienced trauma that made you feel damaged. Maybe you were praised only for achievement, so you learned love is conditional. Whatever the origin, the result is the same. You don't feel inherently worthy. You feel like you have to earn worth through suffering, achievement, perfection, or self-sacrifice. And no matter how much you achieve, it's never enough to quiet the unworthiness voice. Here's the truth that changes everything. Worth is not earned. It's inherent. You are worthy of abundance because you exist, not because of what you do, what you achieve, what you look like, or what others think of you. Because you exist, period. This isn't a spiritual platitude. It's a psychological necessity. If your worth is tied to external factors, it's always conditional and unstable. If your worth is inherent, it's unconditional and stable. Stable worth allows you to take risks, to fail without being destroyed, to succeed without sabotage, to receive without guilt. Stable worth is the foundation of sustainable abundance. How do you build stable worth? You practice separating your being from your doing. Your being is who you are at essence. Consciousness, aliveness, awareness. Your doing is what you accomplish. Tasks, achievements, roles. In scarcity thinking, being and doing are fused. You are what you do. If you fail, you're a failure. If you succeed, you're a success. This is unstable. In abundance thinking, being and doing are separate. You are valuable regardless of what you do. Failure is an event, not an identity. Success is an outcome, not your worth. This is stable. Here's the practice. Every morning, before you do anything, before you check your phone, before you start your day, place your hand on your heart and say out loud, "I am inherently worthy of abundance. My worth is not dependent on my achievements. My worth is not dependent on others' approval. My worth simply is." Say it even if you don't believe it. Say it especially if you don't believe it. You're installing new software. The old worthiness program will fight you. It will say, "This is stupid. You're lying to yourself. You don't deserve anything." Thank it for its opinion. Say the statement anyway. Do this every single day for 90 days. By day 30, you'll feel a shift. By day 60, you'll believe it more than you doubt it. By day 90, it will be true at the identity level. Let me tell you about a man named James. He grew up poor. His dad worked 3 jobs and still couldn't make ends meet. James absorbed the belief that he was destined to struggle. No matter what he did, he couldn't get ahead. He worked hard. He was smart, but he kept hitting an invisible ceiling. Around $50,000 a year, something would always happen. He'd lose a job. He'd make a bad investment. He'd get sick and lose momentum. It was like the universe wouldn't let him pass that line. He blamed bad luck, but it wasn't luck. It was unworthiness. James started the inherent worth practice. Every morning, hand on heart, I am inherently worthy of abundance. The first few weeks, he felt ridiculous. His inner voice mocked him. You're a fraud. You're not worthy of anything. Look at your life. But he kept going. By week 4, something cracked. He was saying the statement, and he started crying. He realized he'd been punishing himself his whole life for being poor. He'd internalized his father's shame. He'd made poverty his identity, and he'd been unconsciously recreating it to stay loyal to his family story. That awareness was the turning point. James started separating his worth from his circumstances. He was worthy even when he was broke. He was worthy even when he failed. He was worthy because he existed. This freed him. He started taking risks he'd never taken before. He asked for a promotion. Got it. $65,000. He invested in education. Started a side business. Within 18 months, he was making $90,000 between his job and his business. Within 3 years, he left his job, and his business was doing $200,000 a year. But the money wasn't the real transformation. The real transformation was his relationship with himself. He stopped seeing himself as unworthy. He started seeing himself as inherently valuable. That shift unlocked everything else. You have the same opportunity. Separate your worth from your results. Practice inherent worth daily. Let it become your foundation. Everything else you're building, the RS recalibration, the pattern interrupts, the visualization, the receiving capacity, all of it rests on this foundation. Worthiness is the ground. Everything else is the structure. Build from solid ground. Now let's address the biggest obstacle to abundance that nobody talks about, the comfort of scarcity. This sounds paradoxical. Why would scarcity be comfortable? Because it's familiar. Your brain loves familiar. Familiar feels safe even when it's painful. You've spent your whole life adapted to scarcity. Your identity is built around it. Your relationships are bonded through it. Your self-image includes it. When abundance threatens to replace scarcity, it threatens your entire known world. That's terrifying. So your brain creates resistance. This resistance shows up in specific ways. Self-sabotage, right before a breakthrough. Picking fights with people who support you. Creating emergencies that drain resources. Making impulsive decisions that derail progress. Getting sick at crucial moments. These aren't coincidences. They're your system trying to return to familiar scarcity. The more progress you make toward abundance, the stronger the pullback to scarcity. This is called homeostatic resistance. Your system wants to maintain equilibrium, even when equilibrium means suffering. How do you overcome homeostatic resistance? First, you recognize it. When self-sabotage shows up, you name it. This is my system trying to return to familiar scarcity. I see you. I'm not going back. Second, you lean into the discomfort of unfamiliar abundance. When good things happen and anxiety rises, you breathe through it. You don't create chaos to relieve the anxiety. You let yourself feel uncomfortable with goodness. Over time, your nervous system recalibrates. Abundance becomes the new familiar. Third, you build support systems that hold you accountable to your new identity. People who won't let you shrink back into old patterns. Communities that reflect abundance back to you. Structures that keep you moving forward even when resistance is high. Let me show you what homeostatic resistance looks like in action. Picture a woman named Michelle. She's been doing her abundance work for 60 days. She's made incredible progress. Her thinking is different. Her decisions are different. Then she gets offered a huge opportunity. A client wants to pay her $20,000 for a project. This is 3 times her normal rate. Old Michelle would have jumped at it. But new Michelle understands her worth and the value she delivers. She quotes the $20,000 confidently. The client says yes immediately. Michelle should be celebrating. Instead, she spirals. That night, she can't sleep. Her mind is racing. They're going to realize, I'm not worth $20,000. I'm going to fail. They're going to ask for a refund. I'm a fraud. By morning, she's convinced herself to email the client and lower the price. She's about to hit send when she catches herself. Wait, this is homeostatic resistance. My system is scared because this is unfamiliar territory. I've never been paid this much before. My brain thinks it's dangerous, but it's not dangerous. It's growth. She doesn't send the email. She sits with the anxiety. She breathes through it. She does her morning practices. She reminds herself of her inherent worth. The anxiety doesn't disappear, but it becomes manageable. She does the project. Does it well. Gets paid $20,000. Her nervous system learns that this level of abundance is safe. Next time, it won't be as scary. That's how you overcome homeostatic resistance. You recognize it. You don't indulge it. You move forward despite it. You prove to your system that abundance is safe. Your system learns. The resistance decreases. Eventually, abundance becomes your new baseline. But you have to go through the discomfort first. There's no shortcut. Let's go deeper into abundance and relationships, because money doesn't exist in isolation. It exists in the context of your connections. The people closest to you influence your money mindset more than anything else. If your partner is scarcity-minded, you will constantly battle their fear. If your friends resent success, you will unconsciously limit yourself to stay connected. If your family believes wealth is evil, you'll sabotage yourself to maintain belonging. Abundance in isolation is unstable. Abundance supported by your relationships is sustainable. This means you need to evaluate your closest relationships through the abundance lens. Not to judge people, not to abandon anyone, but to understand the influence. Ask yourself about each person in your inner circle. Do they celebrate my wins or minimize them? Do they encourage my growth or discourage it? Do they think abundantly or scarcity-minded? Do they support my expansion or prefer my limitation? Answer honestly. The answers tell you who supports your new mental map and who threatens it. For people who support your abundance, lean in. Spend more time with them. Share your journey with them. Let them encourage you. Their energy will reinforce your new pathways. For people who threaten your abundance, create boundaries. You don't have to cut them off, but you do have to protect your mental map. This might mean seeing them less, not discussing money with them, not seeking their advice on financial decisions, not letting their scarcity language infect your thinking. It's not mean. It's self-preservation. Then actively seek new relationships with abundance-minded people. Join communities focused on growth. Attend events where ambitious people gather. Connect online with people building wealth. Read books by people who think expansively. Listen to podcasts that reinforce abundance. Create a deliberate ecosystem that supports your new identity. Your relationships should reflect where you're going, not where you've been. This doesn't mean being fake or abandoning your roots. It means surrounding yourself with people who call you forward instead of holding you back. Here's a practice for relationship evaluation. Make 3 lists. List 1, people who celebrate my abundance journey. List 2, people who are neutral about it. List 3, people who resist or undermine it. Look at your lists honestly. Now decide on action for each category. Category 1 gets more time and energy. Category 2 gets education. You model abundance for them, and some might shift to Category 1. Category 3 gets boundaries and distance. Be ruthless about this. Your mental map is too important to let scarcity-minded people destroy it. Protect your transformation. Now, I want to give you a complete troubleshooting guide for the most common abundance blocks that show up during the 90 days. These are the patterns people hit repeatedly. Knowing them in advance means you can spot them quickly and redirect before they derail you. Block 1. Comparison paralysis. You're doing your work and making progress. Then you see someone else further ahead. They have more money, more success, more opportunities. Your brain spirals. I'm so far behind. I'll never catch up. They're better than me. This is scarcity comparison. It stops your momentum. Solution: recognize comparison as scarcity program activation. Redirect immediately. Ask, what can I learn from their path? What evidence is their success that abundance is available? Use their win as inspiration, not intimidation. Get back to your own journey. Your timeline is not their timeline. Your path is not their path. Comparison is irrelevant. Block 2. Analysis paralysis. You're considering an opportunity. You analyze it to death. You research every angle. You create spreadsheets. You list pros and cons. You never decide. This is fear disguised as thoroughness. You're not being careful. You're avoiding risk. Solution: set a decision deadline. Give yourself 48 hours maximum to research. Then decide using the 4-question framework. Make the decision. Take the action. Learn from the result. Imperfect action beats perfect planning every time. Your abundance comes from momentum, not from analysis. Block 3, worthiness wobble. You're receiving abundance. Then a voice says you don't deserve this. You must have tricked them. You got lucky. It won't last. This is the unworthiness program trying to sabotage your receiving. Solution: return to inherent worth practice immediately. Hand on heart. I am inherently worthy. This isn't luck. This is alignment. I deserve abundance because I exist. Say it until the wobble settles. Then continue receiving without deflection. Block 4. Scarcity spiral. Something goes wrong. An expense. A setback. A rejection. Your mind spirals. See, nothing works. I knew it. I'm cursed. Everything always falls apart. This is one event being interpreted as proof of permanent scarcity. Solution: pause the spiral. Name it. This is one event, not my destiny. Ask, what's the lesson? What's the redirect? What opportunity is hidden here? Reframe the setback as feedback. Extract the value. Move forward. Don't let one event collapse your entire mental map. Block 5. Urgency addiction. You can't relax. You're always hustling, always doing, always proving. If you stop, you feel guilty. This is scarcity energy disguised as productivity. You're trying to earn your worth through exhaustion. Solution: practice being instead of doing. Take 1 day a week where you do no productivity. Just be. Rest. Enjoy. Receive. Your worth is not tied to your output. Prove it to yourself by stopping and noticing you're still valuable. This breaks the scarcity addiction to constant doing. Each of these blocks will show up multiple times during your 90 days. Having the solution ready means you don't have to figure it out in the moment. You recognize the block. You apply the solution. You keep moving. This is how you maintain momentum even when obstacles appear. Let me give you one more complete example that shows how all these pieces work together in real life. There's a woman named Angela. She's a single mom, works as a teacher, makes $45,000 a year, lives paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt, exhausted, bitter, convinced she'll never get ahead. Her scarcity operating system is dominant. Survival program says hoard every penny. Comparison program says everyone else has it easier. Unworthiness program says she deserves struggle because she made bad choices. She's trapped in the loop. Angela finds this work on day 1 of her summer break. She commits to 90 days. She starts with morning risk questions. What opportunities are available to me right now? Day 1, nothing comes. Day 2, she remembers a teacher friend mentioned tutoring online. Day 3, she researches it. Day 5, she signs up. Day 7, she books her first student. $15 an hour. Not much, but it's movement. Her RAS is starting to show her opportunities she couldn't see before. She adds pattern interrupts. Every scarcity thought gets caught and replaced. I can't afford this becomes how could I create this? They have it so easy becomes what can I learn from them? I deserve to struggle becomes I'm worthy of ease. The first week is exhausting. She catches maybe 10 scarcity thoughts a day. The second week she catches 30. Her awareness is sharpening. By week 3, the replacement is becoming automatic. She adds evening gratitude, 3 moments of abundance daily. Day 1, she struggles. Her day felt terrible. Then she finds 3 things. Her daughter's hug, the sunset she noticed, the body that carried her. It feels small, but it shifts something. By week 2, she's seeing abundance everywhere. By week 4, gratitude is changing her entire energy. She's lighter, more present, less bitter. Week 5, she adds visualization. 5 minutes every morning. She sees herself as someone whose mental map is wired for abundance. She sees herself calm with money, making decisions from possibility, receiving opportunities, teaching her daughter abundance thinking. At first it feels fake. By week 7, it feels real. She's installing the identity. Week 6, she faces her first big test. Her car needs a $1,000 repair. Old Angela would have spiraled. New Angela pauses, runs it through the abundance framework. This is a problem, but not a crisis. She has $500 in savings from tutoring money she's been managing better. She can put $500 on a credit card and pay it off in 2 months from tutoring income. This is not proof she's cursed. This is life happening. She handles it, pays for the repair, doesn't spiral, keeps doing her practices. This is abundance. Architecture holding under pressure. Week 8, she starts applying for summer tutoring positions. She quotes $30 an hour instead of $15. She's terrified, but her abundance framework says this aligns with who she's becoming. She can handle rejection. The upside is worth it. She gets 2 clients at 30, 1 at 25. Her summer income jumps. She pays off the car repair, builds her savings to $1,000. Feels actual financial breathing room for the first time in years. Week 10, she has a major breakthrough. A parent asks if she does curriculum planning. Angela's never done it. Old Angela would have said no. New Angela says, I haven't done it before, but I'm confident I can create something valuable. What's your budget? The parent says $500 for a semester plan. Angela says yes, spends 20 hours creating an incredible curriculum. Gets paid $500, $25 an hour for something she'd never done before. Her abundance architecture allowed her to say yes to unfamiliar opportunity. The opportunity paid off. By day 90, Angela has increased her income by $15,000 for the year through tutoring and curriculum work. She's paid off $3,000 in debt. She has $2,000 in savings, but the numbers aren't the real story. The real story is who she's become. She doesn't think like someone trapped anymore. She thinks like someone who finds solutions. She sees opportunities instead of obstacles. She expects good things instead of waiting for disaster. She's teaching her daughter abundance thinking. She's planted seeds that will grow for decades. 3 years later, Angela has left teaching. She runs a full-time curriculum design and tutoring business. She makes $80,000 a year. She owns her time. She's paid off all her debt. She's saving for her daughter's college. She's investing, but more than any of that, she's at peace. Money doesn't control her anymore. She controls money, and that shift started with 90 days of rewiring her mental map. Everything else flowed from that foundation. That's what this blueprint offers you. Not a get-rich-quick scheme, not a magic formula, a systematic neural rewiring process that changes who you are, and who you are determines what you create. Change your mental map, change your life. It's that simple. Not easy, but simple. The practices are clear. The timeline is 90 days. The results are inevitable if you commit. So here's my final challenge to you. Commit to the full 90 days. Not sort of. Not when you feel like it. Fully. Every single day. Morning RAS question. Pattern interrupts throughout the day. Evening gratitude. Visualization. Receiving practice. Decision-making framework. Weekly maintenance rhythms. Monthly audits. All of it. Give it 90 days of complete commitment. Then evaluate. If your mental map hasn't shifted, if opportunities haven't appeared, if your relationship with money hasn't changed, then decide this doesn't work for you. But you have to actually do it first. You can't halfway commit and expect full results. And when doubt comes, and it will come, remember this. Your scarcity operating system has had your entire life to prove itself. It got you here. Stuck, struggling, stressed. That's its track record. Your abundance architecture is asking for 90 days. That's all. 90 days to prove what's possible. The worst case, you spend 90 days doing practices that make you more aware, more grateful, more intentional. That's not a bad worst case. The best case, you completely transform your relationship with money, with yourself, with possibility. You create abundance that compounds for the rest of your life. That best case is worth 90 days of commitment. The map is drawn. The practices are proven. The timeline is clear. The only variable is your commitment. Will you do this? Will you give yourself 90 days? Will you trust the process? Will you become someone who operates from abundance instead of scarcity? The decision is yours, but the opportunity is real. Everything you want is available. You just need the right mental map to navigate toward it. You have that map now. Use it, follow it, trust it. Let it guide you toward the abundant life that's been waiting for you to become ready for it. You're ready now. The 90 days start today. Day 1. Right now. This moment. Your transformation begins with your next thought. Make it an abundant one. Then follow it with another and another for 90 days straight. Watch what happens. Watch who you become. Watch what you create. This is your blueprint. This is your path. This is your invitation. Accept it. Commit to it. Execute it. Your abundant life is not coming someday. It starts now. With this decision, with this commitment, with this first step. Take it. Your future self is waiting. The abundant version of you is ready. Become that person. Live from that identity. Create from that foundation. Everything else will follow. Welcome home to abundance. Welcome to your new mental map. Welcome to the life you were always meant to live.